Imagine this. Thousands of silent soldiers, lined up in perfect formation, staring into the darkness of the earth. They look like they're waiting for an order, a command from their general to charge into battle. Their eyes seem to hold a spark of life, their armor looks battle-ready, their hands are poised to grip weapons that have long since turned to dust. But this order will never come. They've been standing here, frozen in time since 210 BC, buried deep beneath the soil of ancient China. For over 2,000 years, this subterranean army was a complete secret. Think about that. Civilizations rose and fell, wars were fought, empires were built, and all the while, these stone warriors kept their silent vigil, completely unknown to the world above. It's almost impossible to comprehend. How could something so massive, so monumental, be lost to history? Then, one spring day in 1974, everything changed. A group of farmers in China's Shanxi province were trying to dig a well. It had been a dry season, and they needed water for their crops. As they dug, their shovels hit something hard. It wasn't a rock. It felt different. They kept digging, and slowly, an unblinking, life-sized human head, made of terracotta clay, emerged from the dirt. They had no idea at the time, but they had just stumbled upon one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. They had found the edge of the legendary Terracotta Army. This wasn't just a few statues. As archaeologists began to excavate, the sheer scale of what lay beneath the ground was revealed. It was a whole army. Thousands of soldiers, each one with a unique face, hairstyle, and expression. There are archers kneeling and ready to fire. There are infantrymen standing tall with their hands shaped to hold spears. There are powerful generals, their height and detailed armor setting them apart from the ranks. And it wasn't just soldiers. There were cavalry horses, their nostrils flared as if they were real, and even magnificent bronze chariots. The army is laid out in a series of huge underground pits, like a real military garrison. It's a breathtaking snapshot of the military might of the Qin Dynasty, more than 2 millennia ago. The level of detail is just staggering. Every single soldier is an individual work of art. Historians believe that the faces were modeled on real soldiers from the Qin army. Imagine looking into the eyes of a statue and knowing you might be looking at the likeness of a real person who lived and breathed over 2,200 years ago. Their uniforms, their armor, even the treads on the soles of their shoes are meticulously carved. So who would command such an incredible undertaking? Who had the power, the resources, and the sheer audacity to create an entire army just to bury it underground? The answer is as fascinating as the army itself. China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang is one of the most important and controversial figures in Chinese history. He was the man who conquered all the warring states and unified China for the first time in 221 BC. He standardized weights, measures, currency, and even the writing system. He connected existing walls to create the first version of the Great Wall of China. He was a visionary, a legalist, and a ruthless ruler who executed scholars and burned books to eliminate opposing thoughts. He was a man of immense power, and with that power came an obsession that would define his later years, the quest for immortality. The emperor was terrified of death. He sent expeditions to find the mythical elixir of life. He consulted with magicians and alchemists. But as he got older, he realized that he might not be able to cheat death. So he came up with a backup plan. If he couldn't live forever in this world, he would rule forever in the next. And to do that, he would need an army. An army to protect him in the afterlife, to fight his battles, and to secure his eternal dominion. And so the construction of his mausoleum and its guardian army began. Work on this massive project started shortly after he ascended the throne at the age of 13. Historical records, written by the great historian Sima Qian about a century after the emperor's death, describe a tomb of legendary proportions. The records speak of a vast underground palace, with models of towers and halls, and rivers of mercury made to flow mechanically, representing the Yangtze and Yellow rivers. The ceiling was said to be a map of the heavens, adorned with pearls and gems to represent the stars and moon. For centuries, people thought these accounts were just myths, fantastic legends. But the discovery of the Terracotta Army proved that the old texts might be more accurate than anyone ever dared to believe. The sheer logistics of building this army are mind-boggling. It's estimated that over 700,000 workers, many of them convicts or forced laborers, worked for nearly 4 decades to complete the mausoleum and the army. These weren't mass-produced statues stamped out of a mold. The bodies were made in sections: legs, torsos, arms, heads, and then assembled. The heads were then individually detailed by master artisans, giving each soldier his unique identity. Then they were fired in massive kilns. And here's something even more incredible. When they were first unearthed, the soldiers weren't the plain gray color we see today. They were painted in vibrant, lifelike colors. They had purple robes, green trousers, and pink faces. Imagine how they must have looked, a kaleidoscope of color standing in the dark. Sadly, as soon as the dry, 2,000-year-old lacquer paint was exposed to the air, it flaked and faded within minutes, disappearing before the archaeologists' eyes. It's a tragic loss. Today, scientists are working on new techniques to preserve the color on newly excavated warriors, giving us a tantalizing glimpse of their original splendor. The army is organized into 3 main pits. Pit 1 is the largest, a massive rectangular formation with over 6,000 soldiers and horses, representing the main fighting force. It's like a military parade frozen in time. Pit 2 is a more complex formation, with cavalry, archers, and chariots, suggesting a mobile strike force. Pit 3 is the smallest, and appears to be the command post, with high-ranking officers and a war chariot, from where the entire afterlife army would be directed. There's even a 4th pit, but it's empty. Archaeologists believe it was left unfinished, perhaps because the emperor's death came suddenly, and the Qin dynasty collapsed shortly after, plunging China into civil war. The story of the Terracotta Army is a story of power, obsession, and an extraordinary vision of the afterlife. Qin Shi Huang wanted to conquer death itself, and in a way he succeeded. His physical body is gone, but his army remains, a testament to his ambition. They are the eternal guardians of a silent emperor. But there's a final, tantalizing mystery. The Terracotta Army is just one part of a much larger necropolis, a city of the dead that covers nearly 22 square miles. The central tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang himself, the one described by Xi'an with its rivers of mercury and celestial ceiling, remains unexcavated. It's a mound of earth, a man-made mountain, and no one has dared to open it. Why? For one, there are concerns about preservation. Archaeologists fear that opening the tomb could instantly destroy whatever treasures lie within, just like the paint on the warriors vanished. There's also the legend of booby traps, automated crossbows set to fire at anyone who disturbed the emperor as rest. But perhaps the most compelling reason is the one confirmed by science. Recent soil tests around the tomb mound have shown abnormally high levels of mercury, lending incredible credibility to the ancient historian's account of flowing mercury rivers. Opening the tomb could release a cloud of toxic vapor. So for now the emperor sleeps on, undisturbed. His silent army stands guard, and the secrets of his final resting place remain one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries. What lies inside that unopened tomb? A palace of unimaginable wealth? The secrets of a lost empire? Or perhaps, the key to understanding the mind of the man who unified China and built an army for eternity? The soldiers aren't talking. They just stand and wait, their terracotta eyes gazing into a future they were never meant to see. Thanks for watching. If you were as fascinated by this story as I am, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of history. See you next time.